Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I am your host, Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
The sidekick.
How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm great.
I'm happy to be back.
It's been a while.
It's I forgot how to even podcast. We tried to start this episode 3 times now, and I feel like I failed.
And we did a 30-minute one that wasn't recorded, so.
That also. So we're now on take 3
of episode 146.
of 146. This one's actually recording. The light is on.
That's good.
So let's try this again. We used up all the good stuff in the last one, though.
It was terrible, though.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay. Well, it was terrible.
Probably things we shouldn't have been recorded anyway, so that's good.
Start over.
We're better off this way.
Try again. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. Glad to see you guys did an episode without me last week.
It was great.
And by that, I mean you didn't.
We didn't.
Nobody wanted to.
We were really busy. We had a lot of work to do last week. End of month.
End of quarter, and I wasn't here, so
yeah.
I'm sure that
great.
didn't help. So.
It was a perfect week.
It was a perfect week. Perfect week because I wasn't here. Nope. I'm happy to be back. Not that sunning with my family wasn't fun for spring break, but
The tan definitely lessens the reflection off your head.
that's good.
It does, for sure.
That means I did something right.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could help.
Looks real nice.
Hey, did you see my face tattoo? That's not really a face tattoo. It's
Oh.
my sunburn that turned into my Mike Tyson looking
yeah,
face tattoo.
See that kind of
Hey, I don't know how that happened.
That's great.
Yeah, first day. Apparently, my wife was like, "You need to put sunscreen on so you don't get burnt the first time."
And
I'm
she
like,
intentionally-
okay.
she
And
intentionally
I think
missed
she
the
did.
spot,
I
for
think
sure.
she intentionally made a shape of my face,
Yep.
and that's where I got burnt.
That's what you get for letting her put lotion on you.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's funny.
So
I hope she really did that.
I don't know if she did.
Great.
She denies it. She says she
Well,
did.
what's she gonna do? She ain't gonna admit it.
I would.
Well, yeah.
Like, yeah, I did that.
That's different though.
But yeah, so now I got this weird shaped face tattoo looking tan.
And she probably told your boys to keep it a secret too, and they know they're all in.
Oh
on
no,
it.
my kids are making fun of me for it every day. That's what they wake up. Hey, Dad, how's your face? Like still burnt. Thank you.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, so that's,
Vacation was good.
Vacation was a good time. Yeah, we had a really good time. The boys were enjoying themselves. There was a lot of swimming.
That's good.
And as a 9 and 7-year-old boy, swimming is the world. If you get to
sure.
swim, you're happy. So
Check out the ocean a little bit.
yeah, we went swimming every day in the ocean, pretty much.
See any sharks?
I did not see any sharks.
Dang it.
But I had a sea lion swim up to the back of the boat when we were fishing.
I saw that video.
It was super
That was
cool.
pretty sweet.
Yeah, I got to feed it.
I'd be a little bit scared it was gonna like throw itself into the motor as you're driving though.
They're inboards, so like the motor's
Oh,
under
so
the
it's
thing.
way
Yeah,
underneath.
it's,
Yeah, okay,
it's an
that makes-
ocean
that's
boat.
fair.
Like that was an inboard one. Like it wasn't a. So I wasn't really worried about that, but yeah, that thing was just like it was huge. I couldn't believe how big it was.
He was having the time of his life.
Oh yeah, he's got that thing figured out. He is
Yeah.
the fattest, laziest sea lion in all of the ocean because he was smart enough to know I don't have to go hunt for food. I'll just wait here
Yep.
till the fishermen come in, and then I'll just get all their free bait.
Smart.
Because he did. He got all of our free bait because I was
Very,
not going to
very
stop giving
smart.
it to him.
Wonder if I could figure out how to do that as a human.
Just hang out somewhere that people
Yeah,
feed
free
you.
food. That'd be sweet.
Figure that out as a human. Things we're going to contemplate for 500.
I see the episode didn't get any better from the one we didn't
Nope,
record.
it's getting worse. We're getting worse. We're contemplating how to get food for free now.
All right.
No, so yeah, like I said, that was pretty cool. Got to do that. We saw a bunch of dolphins. And I actually, for the first time in my life, saw a live whale not in captivity. That was pretty cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
It was pretty sweet. There was actually a bunch of them.
Did you catch it? You
No,
went fishing for whales?
I did not go whale fishing. I don't think that's legal. I don't even know what kind of whale it was, to be honest with you. I'm assuming like
How big was it?
a big one. I don't know. How do you measure a
Like
whale?
as big as the boat?
How do I answer that question?
Well, I don't know.
How big was the whale? Big?
Big as the boat?
Like whale size? Yeah, bigger than the boat.
Blue whale?
I don't know if
You
it's
don't know.
blue
You
whale.
just said you didn't know
Like I
what it
said,
was.
I don't know. Humpback? I don't know.
Who
It was
knows?
not an orca. I know that. I know what those look like. Speaking of orcas, did you see that video that went viral online of that orca attacking a shark?
No.
Pretty sure I did.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
It was wild.
Seems like it'd be entertaining.
That's why they call them killer whales, they said. But yeah, it was crazy. It was maybe that was an April Fool's joke. I can't remember now. I can't remember now.
It could have. I did have a buddy that posted a photo of a whale jumping out of Lake Superior in front of the
I saw
Split Rock
that.
Lighthouse.
I saw that. That was pretty funny. I did see that one. That's the problem with April Fool's Day. Now I got to look for it.
But see, you have to like you have to have it out there super early in the morning so that when people wake up and see it, they don't realize.
They don't
what day it
realize
is
it.
at
Yeah.
first. But then by the time 8, 9 o'clock rolls on, you see 700 different things that
Yeah.
obviously
See,
tip you
I knew
off.
I wasn't crazy. Look right here. Watch this video.
Whoa!
Right.
Holy smokes!
So anybody who wants to see it, it's called "Orca Killer Whale Takes Out Giant Great White."
yeah, that's
You
aggressive.
can Google that and you'll probably
Just
find it.
out of nowhere,
Right.
And the shark didn't have time to move.
Oh yeah, the shark didn't even see it coming.
Wow!
Isn't that wild?
Should be
So
more,
there you go. Now you've learned something from today's podcast.
I feel like I should be more worried about a whale than a shark in
right.
the water after seeing
That's
that.
what I said. I was like, man, I feel like they had beef. I think like they had beef. There's like they grew up together. He wasn't very nice to him when they were younger.
They're definitely not beef. I was trying to come up with a joke. They're not beef. They're what do they call whale and shark meat? I don't know. Not beef. God, that was stupid.
You're ridiculous. We just lost every viewer we have on this show now. No listeners left because of that joke.
To the 7 of you that left, please come back.
They're already gone. They can't hear you. We're just talking to each other now. This is ridiculous. Oh man. On that note, we got to move forward now.
Let's move on.
That was bad. No. So yeah, today we just want to talk a little bit, in today's episode I thought, kind of getting into things. I want to talk a little bit about a topic that's come up more lately. And that was, talking about aftermarket versus OEM purchases and kind of how they relate to your everyday, purchases. When you're buying parts for your, car, for parts for your machines or, accessories. I get a lot of questions, and specifically this sparked from a conversation earlier this week when we had a customer asking about like tool holders. It's a question that comes up and says, hey, thoughts on buying tool holders from one location versus another. And, some people tell them, oh, go buy them on Amazon. Some people, go buy them from so-and-so. We sell them, of course. And the comment that I commonly hear from people is that our tool holders are more expensive. And they're not wrong. Because they are, right? I mean, I'm not going to deny it. I mean, the price is price, and you see our price, and you can see the price that you can buy them on Amazon for or some of these other ones. But the concern that I've always had is, are you really saving money in the long run? Because sometimes you get lucky, right? I mean, there's been a number of people that buy aftermarket tool holders, for example, and they don't have any problems. That's a win, right? Save money.
At the start, though. Until you have a problem, right?
Well, then that's what I tried to say. That was my comment. And I said it, this isn't an area of debate, right? I'm not trying to start a fight for anybody. I'm not even saying anybody's doing it right or wrong, right? Maybe they're doing it right. There's no right or wrong answer here. Really, buy what you're comfortable with is what my answer is. But really, the reason I bring that up is because it's never a problem until it's a problem, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And how do I answer that question when people are like, well, I've bought them and I've had no issues? Well, that's great. But here's the problem I have. As soon as you have a problem because I told you to do it, now it's my problem.
Correct.
Right? It's not my problem when you decide to do it on your own. But it is my problem if I sell you a tool holder that is cheaper so I can keep the price down, and then that tool holder fails. Because now you bought it from me. And if that spindle has a problem, right? Tool holders, let's say, let's think about this for a second. They're spinning at what, 24,000 RPM? That's not
Sounds right.
slow.
Yeah, right.
So when they're moving, if something's out of balance at 24,000 RPM, there's a good chance it's going to cause problems.
A lot of problems.
Right. Or worse yet, what if the tool holder starts to come apart? And I'm not meaning like shrapnel attacking you coming apart, not orca whale attacking a shark apart. But I'm talking, what about the casing inside? If it starts coming apart, right? The tool starts to slip. Or you start looking at it from a standpoint that the coating on the tool or on the tool holder comes off and gets inside your spindle. These things can all happen, and then they cause major damage to a spindle, right?
Yep.
Well, now you're out a $12,000 spindle. Who are you calling? Don't say Ghostbusters, please.
No, they won't help you at all.
I thought you were going to say Ghostbusters with your
you're
dad
probably
jokes.
you're probably going to try to call us first.
Well, that's my point. You're going to call who you bought from.
Yep.
And if I'm the one who sold you this tool holder and you can see the tool holder came apart and that tool holder coming apart probably caused damage to your spindle, are you not going to expect me to stand up for that spindle then?
They probably are going to expect that.
Yeah. And the unfortunate world we live in today is that, yeah, people are going to place the blame on me, right? they're not going to blame the tool holder and go after the tool holder company. They're going to blame me.
Because you told them to do it.
Because I sold it to you.
To save $5.
And that's exactly it. It's like, so for me, I just buy the recommended tool holders.
Yep.
And yes, they're a little bit more money, but you know what I know about them? They're recommended.
Right.
They are the right product.
You're kind of going to have that, confidence that they're going to work properly and hopefully not cause you issues compared to something you don't really know about.
Right.
I mean, why not get something, not even necessarily just the tool holders, but anything? Why wouldn't you want to get it from the person who manufactured whatever you're trying to add to, so that you know that it's something? I mean, if the manufacturer is willing to use it on their machines or use it for whatever, obviously there's a reason why they're using that on their product. Correct? Right. They stand behind it. And they have confidence in the fact that part is going to work.
Correct. And that same thing goes for like aftermarket versus OEM when it comes to really anything. I mean, when we talk about another common conversation that comes up is dust collection. We hear a lot of people that can give their opinion on dust collection, right?
Yep.
And everybody's opinion's worth gold in their own thoughts, right? But the reality is I have to always look at everything from a bigger perspective, right? If I'm going to sell you a dust collection solution, I need the standard collection to be versatile. Do I not?
Correct.
Because not every single person's doing what you're doing with your machine. They may be doing cabinets, signs, 3D, whatever, right? But not everybody is doing the work you're doing.
Right, and you're looking at it from the big picture, like what's going to work best for every single person, not a specific person that's doing whatever, like you said, signs or doing cabinets or whatever. Everything's going to work a little differently for each person, right? But you want something that can be high enough quality for everybody across the board, not just a specific group.
Well, and I think that's where I kind of find it humorous when people want to argue with me about this. That, and a lot of times it's humorous for me only because they're so passionate about it that they're kind of rude about it.
Yep.
People get kind of rude with me about it, and they're, your dust collection is crap, right? Okay, I've heard that, right? People have said that to me. Your standard dust collection's crap. You should just include the dust stock for free. Okay, let's take a look at that for a second, though, right? The standard dust collection isn't crap. It works for what it's intended to work for.
Correct.
You view it as crap because it doesn't work for your application specifically.
And they won't listen to that explanation of it.
Right.
They just assume.
Because they expect, well, I bought a machine from you for building cabinets. Well, yeah, but I'm not going to have 1,000 different dust configurations there, right? I'll let you select what's best for you. And I'll make recommendations, and I can guarantee you there's never been a sales guy here that hasn't tried to sell a dust stock or a containment skirt to somebody cutting cabinets, right?
Yep, sure.
I mean, it's always a discussion. It's something we believe in very, very heavily, that, recommend the right products. But the point being is that if your budget doesn't allow you to upgrade to those, I'm not giving it away for free.
Correct.
I can't because, well, the reason I can't is because the margin doesn't allow. If it didn't cost me money, yeah, it's something I could give you, right? But it costs me more money to build it that way.
Correct.
Therefore, I charge accordingly. And some of that isn't just what it cost me to build something today, but it's also what it cost me to support that.
And that again, too, is kind of what people don't ever think about is they just think about the price of the product. They don't understand what goes into making that product work.
Correct. And that's the biggest thing that I go back to is, again, the tool holder is another perfect example. They're selling them cheaper than me. You're right. But they're probably using lesser quality metals. There's something in that tool holder that's making it cheaper, right? For one. Two, do you think Amazon really cares about your spindle? No, they don't. No. They're going to sell you a tool holder. If something goes wrong, they're going to tell you to contact the customer service department. They're not going to take care of your brand new spindle.
Nope.
They're not going to, because they're a big enough company that, what are you going to do? Tell everybody not to buy from Amazon?
No, they'll take back your $7 tool holder.
Correct.
They'll give you a new one because $7 to them is
correct.
Whatever.
Exactly. And my point is you're out the spindle.
Absolutely.
But the difference is they don't have to give you customer support.
No.
I, however, have to answer the phone and give you support, and my reputation actually means something to me.
Correct.
Because I'm not Amazon size. So I have to still make sure that I'm taking care of the client to the full extent. Absolutely. And so, yes, you're going to find parts aftermarket sometimes that are cheaper. Just because it's cheaper doesn't always make it a bad product either.
Right.
I'm not saying that either. Like, there's plenty of aftermarket parts that I have bought for my race car and for my, personal life, that, my kids' hockey. There's aftermarket things I have bought that work just great. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you one thing that I've learned in my life. Aftermarket things that work great rarely are cheaper.
Right. Definitely not.
They come with a value, right?
Yep.
And that value is they're a better product, they're better quality, there's support, there's something with it. And a lot of times those things raise the cost. Rarely have I found in life, I'm going to save a bunch of money and get better quality.
Right. And I don't feel like there's very many times when the saying you get what you pay for isn't true.
I agree with that.
I mean, how many times actually do you spend a good amount of money on something that you're replacing and have it not work? Obviously, sometimes that'll happen. But the majority of times I feel like if you buy a higher quality piece of anything that costs a little bit more, it's going to last a little bit longer and work better.
Well, that, and my thing again, I'm trying to think of the way to word this. If you're going to consider buying aftermarket, you have to consider the consequences that come along with it, right?
Yep.
Because if you're going to buy a product, right? Example, Ford pickup truck, right? And the motor goes out in it. Can you go buy an aftermarket pickup truck motor?
Yeah, sure you can.
Right. You can go to a motor builder and have them build you something. But I think a vast majority of people go look for that same motor, right?
Yep, for sure.
Why do they do that?
Because it worked.
Because it works.
Until they changed something on it that made it not work.
It's support. There's so many things. It's designed for that.
Yep.
So I find it kind of funny that people own vehicles that are far more expensive than some of the other equipment they have in their shop. Mm-hmm. I mean, heck, trucks are in the $100,000 range now. And yet if they have a problem with the motor, they put a OEM part back in it. But when it comes to something as little as like a tool holder, they're willing to try to save a few bucks.
Right.
And that's basically like putting yourself in a situation where you're like, that's a big part of, it's a big risk. And
especially if it's something that's keeping your business running and keeping your business going. I mean, obviously you need your truck to do things as well. But I mean, if you're going to cut corner on something in your business that's keeping you going and keeping your money and your cash flow coming, I definitely wouldn't want to be cutting corners on that and risking something terrible happening and putting me out of production for who knows how long when something gets ruined.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They're down. And that goes back to one tool holder from one company is $1,000 for 5, right? I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out.
Yep.
$1,000 for 5 versus I can get 5 for $100, right? Which I don't think is true, but that's when I'm throwing out numbers. I don't know these numbers for sure.
But at that point, it should be very obvious what you should be buying.
But that's my question is, I would be more concerned that the quality that goes into those if they're 5 for $100.
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
Now, I could understand, again, if I can buy 5 for $500 versus 5 for $1,000.
Sure.
Okay? I at least can start to discuss that. But it goes back to, again, I'm saving $500.
Is that worth the thousands you might lose?
That's my question.
Money?
So
absolutely not.
One of those 5 is balanced improperly, has bad metallics, the coating isn't right, and it wrecks your spindle. Was saving $500 worth it when it's going to cost you $12,000 in a spindle later on?
Not even close.
Or was it worth it when, you're down $12,000 spindle and you may lose work over it because your machine's down for a period of time as you're waiting for a new spindle?
I'd spend the $500 extra every
That's
day.
how I've always looked at it. But again, I understand I'm looking at it from a business standpoint. This is a tool in my business that I can't afford to be down. Now, if I was a hobbyist, and it doesn't matter if I'm down, something happens, it might be a risk I'm willing to take.
Yep.
And that's where I go back to, there isn't a right or wrong answer to this question, because I think you have to look at it from a personal perspective. How is it going to affect my scenario, my situation? I don't think I can base my scenario off of somebody else's scenario. Right? Everybody's different. And so I'm not saying the guy who's buying the 5 for $100 or whatever is wrong. Maybe it's worked for him really well. And I've heard people say that. I've been buying it this way for years. That's great.
Yep.
Until it's not.
Right. And the guy that's buying the 5 for $100 because he's a hobbyist probably isn't really doing it to make thousands and thousands of dollars. He's doing it more for a little bit of fun and make something here and there.
Yep.
So he can't really justify.
But I bet there's people out there, being honest, I bet there's people out there that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year with their machine and still buying 5 for $100.
Right. Which, if it was me, I would definitely go the
It's
other
a risk
route.
I wouldn't take. Right, correct. I mean,
sure.
And again, maybe that's me being more conservative than I need to, right? Okay. I'm going to spend a little bit more just to be safe.
But I think that also goes back to other things we talked about with protecting your business or doing the right things for your business to make sure and assure yourself that you don't have them issues.
Right. And that's, again, it's just things that I do, risk assessment that I've done for myself, but it doesn't mean I'm right or wrong.
Right.
It doesn't make me better than the next guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you buying those is not a good thing. Now, naturally, me as a business, I would rather you buy them from me.
For sure.
I want you to buy them from me for multiple reasons. I want you to buy it from me because, for one, it's revenue for my business too. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm in business to make money too. So I'm hoping to keep my customer retention high and have customers buy from me. But two, it helps me with supporting you. When I know you have the right parts and the right thing, like if you have a problem with your machine, it's a lot easier for me to say yes.
Yep.
Like I try to remind customers, I think we live in a world in today, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Nick, but I feel like we live in a world where people expect to get screwed.
Probably, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, everybody goes into a situation expecting to get screwed. Like, how are they going to screw me out of the deal here? You know, like when something goes wrong with the machine, more times than none, I am met with resistance before, a positive attitude.
I think it's because most people or most places you call to get that kind of question answered or ask that question, you're met with resistance that way. So people go into it defensive right away.
And that's my point.
Instead of thinking about it like, hey, maybe these guys are actually going to explain to me what's going on, and they're trying to help me out, and they're not just trying to like cover their butt from doing something. They're explaining the whole situation and wanting to have a conversation about it to, know what's going on.
And that's my point. Exactly what we were just saying is that I feel like in today's world, you go into it expecting to get screwed.
For sure.
And so people go, I'm gonna be on the offense before they are, right? So they come into it guns ablaze and they don't even give me a chance to explain, right?
Yep.
Like, hey, whoa, let's figure this. Like, I want to work with you, but that's the difference. Is like that's why I want you to buy from me. It's not because it's just about the money, right? Mm-hmm. Again, we're a business. Yes, some of it has to do with the money. If anybody thinks it's not, I mean, you're not in business to not make money. Right. So we all think about the money in some regard, but at the same token, I'm willing to put the money aside to help you. And I think we've proven that as a company. Our customer service proves that we stand behind our product better than most companies. And the reason we do that is because we know we're building a better product. We buy better quality parts.
Yep.
And so that's what allows me to stand behind those products. If I started worrying, the point of this entire roundabout statement was if I started worrying about every dollar, right? And I said, you know what, I'm going to try to get down to the cheapest possible thing I could sell you. I don't think I can maintain the support that I'm able to support you.
No, not at all.
Because how can I stand behind my product with confidence if I know the product's not very good?
If you're having issues with it every single time you put it on the machine,
right.
Obviously it's not something you should be
And
using.
that's the problem is if I start selling cheap tool holders, and if you had any idea how many tool holders we sell a year, like if I had to worry about every single tool holder's quality and the fact that I'm having spindles get blown up and parts going bad in them because of the tool holders, do you think I could stand behind my machines when they're down the way I do?
No, not at all.
And that's kind of the point that I'm making here is that's why when you say, okay, I got to consider aftermarket versus OEM, you need to consider aftermarket versus OEM and what's best for you. But for me, there's only one answer. I'm not going to consider aftermarket in that because of the fact that aftermarket only opens up the door for more problems for me.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's where it's a messy subject, right? What's the right answer? What came first, chicken or the egg? You don't know, right?
Yep.
And that's the problem is that you can't tell me that 100% of the time that there's going to be no failure. Well, if you could promise me you'll never have a failure, I'd tell you to buy buy the cheaper one all the time, right?
I mean, you can't promise that or guarantee that even with the best of products.
Right.
I mean, everything at some point, well, not everything, but there's going to be issues with
everything.
No matter how good something is, at some point you're going to have issues.
There's nothing in this world that's 100%.
Right.
Nothing.
No.
I lied. Taxes and death.
Correct. Yeah,
those two things are 100%.
Yep.
They're going to happen. April 15th is your taxes. Don't forget about it. This is your friend.
And me having pizza for dinner tonight.
Oh, you're having pizza tonight for dinner?
Hopefully.
That's 100%? No, see, hopefully. That wasn't 100%. But my point being is that you can't guarantee that anything. I mean, like you said, even stuff we build.
Yep.
We're not perfect. We make mistakes. But you know what I am going to promise you is I'm going to stand behind it.
Correct.
I'm going to take care of my customers where I can.
And you have a lot less mistakes and issues because of the quality of parts that we use.
Correct. And that is the big point that I'm making.
You can minimize your issues.
I can maximize my capabilities of success by using a higher quality standardized product. Yes, I could go buy an aftermarket spindle. I could go buy an aftermarket bearing system. There's all kinds of cheap parts out there that I am presented with every week. If people knew the number of emails I get for aftermarket parts, I think they'd be pretty impressed by the amount of self-control we have to pass up big savings for quality, right?
In exchange for 20% more, 50% more calls with issues.
Right. And that's what I think. It goes back to our conversations that we've had in the past about like China versus, United States stuff. When you look at like frame quality, you know how many companies want to build frames for us?
Right. Yeah.
And you know how many of them will sell me frames for a fraction of the cost of what I have into building frames here?
And a fraction of the quality.
And that's exactly it. The quality is just, it's the foundation of the machine. I'm not going to sacrifice. So again, aftermarket versus OEM. The OEM design is our design. I'm not going to design it and send it off to somebody else and have them build it at a fraction of the cost. Part of my design is the quality of materials I'm using. That is part of our design.
Yep.
So again, when you look at OEM versus aftermarket and some of that stuff, I think you have to take a lot of that into consideration. And I think, again, going back to the dust collection thing, I'm not saying that there isn't a good aftermarket dust collection option out there. In fact, we're going to be meeting here. What is it? A couple weeks, guys? We have a podcast episode being done with, right? Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure I was on the right before I gave away the secrets here. But yeah, in a couple weeks here, we have, I was looking at Rodney just so you know, not you.
No, I know. I was just waiting to see who you're going to say it was.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So TCC is who we're going to be meeting with. And they have some really good products they've come up with over the years. And they're excited to talk about it. It's something that some of our customers use, and they have a place in the world, right? There's good products out there if you want something different. But again, our goal as a company is to build something OEM that is application specific that you can purchase if you need to. But our standardized skirts are generally going to be versatile. Yep. It's a Swiss Army knife, right? I always remind that to people. Like when you're buying a router table from us, you might do 3D, you might do cabinets, you might do signs, right? You need to have a skirt that can kind of be versatile and not just crash into the material, right?
Yep.
And so I have to have a skirt that has a little bit more give. Well, that's going to, there's give and take, right? You're going to give up a little bit of dust collection when you have more versatility. It's like the Swiss Army knife. It has a knife in it. It has a scissors in it. It has a screwdriver in it. But it's probably not the tool of choice if you're a NASCAR pit stop team, right? They're probably not pulling out their Swiss Army knives when the car comes flying into the pits and needs to be repaired.
Probably wouldn't work very well.
Right. They grab the right tool, right? Yep. And it's the same thing with that. A dust collection standardized skirt will do the job for you. And it allows you to really be versatile. But once you start getting more specific on the situation, right?
Yep.
Okay, maybe now it's time to upgrade or time to change that dust collection. Maybe get more specific with what we're doing. So again, it's give and take. You got to pick the right tool for the job.
But like you said, that one dust skirt will do a really good job for everything. And if you're doing one thing specific every day that you need a different dust skirt for that doesn't need to allow you to do 10 different applications, then figure out what you need to be productive or be successful in that one area of expertise that you're doing.
And then that's exactly it. It's just, there's no right or wrong answer to this question. We've talked about aftermarket versus OEM a little bit, and there's not an answer that I can give you that will say, 100% of the time you should do this. I'm not going to be that guy.
Just be willing to listen to the information given to you to explain why it's going to work for you or why it won't work for you.
My biggest thing is if you're going to try aftermarket, be willing to accept the fact that it might not work.
Right.
And if it doesn't, it might cost you more money.
Correct.
That's the only thing I ever ask people. Like, I'm not opposed to people trying to save money. The world's expensive as it is.
Yep, for
I'm
sure.
not against people trying to save money. Save money where you can. A lot of things nowadays have cost, a lot more money than it probably should. And for me, I'm not here to tell people like there isn't another solution out there, right? There's.
Yep.
I'm a realist when it comes to this stuff. Like, I understand that there's many CNC machines you can purchase out there. I feel like for the value, like we do things better than our competitors. Mm-hmm. But are there machines out there that you can go spend $500,000 on that might not do more for you? Maybe.
Yep.
Right? There's products out there. I'm not unrealistic about it. Like, there are products out there that are more expensive than ours and probably give you some features or benefits that maybe some companies will benefit from, right?
But do you necessarily need to spend the extra money to have those features if it doesn't apply to your business?
Right.
I mean,
And that's the same thing I say with, you have to look at it. There's cheaper products
again,
than us
there's
too.
no right or wrong answer, right?
Yeah, there's cheaper products than us out there too, right?
Yep.
Are they right for you? The quality right for you? We have a niche market we fall into. Our market that we fall into is really people who are out there looking for a quality product who really are trying not to break the bank, right?
Yep.
That's what we are. We sell quality products made here in the United States, and we're really about bringing this technology to more people's hands to give them the ability to grow their business.
Correct.
We are not a machine for every single person, right?
Yep.
Some people's budgets might not fit what we sell. And some people may have budgets so extreme and needs so extreme that we just don't build the product that hits them, right? There are markets that we are not in. And does that mean that one day we won't hit every market?
Nope.
No. I mean, we're constantly innovating and changing and trying to come up with new stuff to help us. I mean, our ISA is a perfect example of that. If you would have asked me 5 years ago, what do you think about, that market? I would have told people we don't have a machine in that market.
Yep.
Now we do. So in 5 years, where will we be? We're going to have new products. I can assume that, right? We're not going to stop trying to bring quality products to our consumers' fingertips.
Correct. And I think quality products at, like you said, a cheaper price compared to what some people think they have to pay
Right.
to get what they need out of it for their business.
Well, I think there's a lot in this world to say if when you look at people's expectations, sometimes people just have unrealistic expectations too.
For sure.
Right? I mean, there are people out there that think they can get by with a lot less than they probably need, and they find out the hard way. But I also feel like equally there's people on the other side that think they need more than they probably need, right?
And I think there's a lot of people that think just because they spend a lot more money that they're going to look better or sound better or do better or whatever.
Yeah,
Just
correct.
because they can say, oh, I spent $300,000 on something that
Right.
I could have gotten for $100,000, but I was like, hey, I have the money. I feel
Right.
the need to just say that I spent this amount of money on it for whatever reason.
Right. Some of that's just glamour, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to buy the most expensive thing you can, and that's cool. But, again, I'm not here to say you're right or wrong by buying OEM versus aftermarket, but I do think that there's something to be said when you're buying OEM, you're getting a product designed for the product that you're using.
Yep.
And there is some peace of mind always with that.
Absolutely. And you're, like you said, the success rate and not having to worry about failures and issues being caused by using something.
My thing just comes back to you have to take into consideration the risk and reward. What is the risk of you buying this aftermarket thing? Is there a chance it could cause a lot more expenses to you later on? If the answer is yes, maybe that's not the place to spend the money, right?
It would scare me into wanting to do it a different way.
Yeah. But, I always just look at it, from it's a lot harder to say what's right and wrong because, you can go buy aftermarket, ink for your printer.
Yep.
Is it right or wrong?
Probably not. If you're just printing black and white stuff on a piece of paper, it's different. But
it's case by case is my point. I could sit here on an episode for the next 3 hours and come up with situations where buying aftermarket makes sense. And I could probably spend the same 3 hours coming up with situations where buying aftermarket does not make sense.
Right.
It's a case by case. You have to really understand what your objections are, where you're trying to go with things. And again, today's episode was really just about me wanting to bring to light a topic that came up. And it's just discussing aftermarket versus OEM. And I don't think anybody's thoughts are wrong here.
Right.
I think this is one of those gray area topics that we could sit in a room and debate and you could change my mind 10 times.
Yeah, for sure. But what that says is you're willing to listen to that argument, though, and not just, having your opinion and sticking to it.
Right.
You can listen to other views
and
other things on it.
Right. And that's exactly it. I am willing to hear every side of it. And I just, like I said, it was more of a conversation to think about. And again, an explanation of why we use what we use. Hopefully people now understand why I trust the tool holders I do, the dust collection solutions I have. We have all these things in place because we look at it from a bigger perspective, from a business perspective, being able to support our customers, stand behind our product. That's really what's important to me. The number one most important thing to me at ShopSabre is that I can stand behind the product with confidence.
For sure.
I don't want to put my name, my dad's name, our reputation, my family's reputation on the line because I can make a few bucks extra. That's just not who I am. I'm not saying those people don't exist. I'm not saying there aren't companies out there. but it's not who we are. And that's why, yes, you can find cheaper products elsewhere sometimes on certain things, but I can assure you, we didn't spend more money to spend more money.
Right.
That's all I got today.
That was good.
How did I do?
Really good.
Was that better than the first episode we did?
Probably for our listeners, yes.
I got to remember to hit that record button. See? But there. Yeah, so it wasn't too long today, but I just want to share some of that because, like I said, it was a conversation I had, and there's
certain topics that only have so much you can discuss before you start kind of rambling and getting off on weird tangents. But that one was really good. Kind of covered all the bases.
Yeah. Now I know, like I said, we have some cool things coming up. We're going to have that TCC team on our podcast here in the next few weeks. I'm not sure the dates exactly. But I know that's coming. I'm pretty excited about that.
Eventually, we'll get Rodney to make a guest appearance with us.
Rodney's going to make a guest appearance, maybe?
Instead of just looking over our shoulders.
No. Rodney keeps shaking his head. He says, not doing it. Nick, I'm not doing it.
I said the same thing when I was first asked.
I know. Look at you now. You're a semi-pro now.
I just came out here and hung out with Chad and Travis, laid in the weeds, and didn't say much.
Didn't say anything until we got rid of Chad and Travis from the show.
Like, I guess I have no other choice than to talk now, huh?
Yeah, that's how that was actually all planned. You weren't talking enough,
that's
so
fair.
We just told them to leave so you'd talk.
You just wanted to be a little bit more smarter of a show.
More smarter of a show.
That sounded really dumb.
That really did not fit the explanation that you were trying to give.
Did not.
But yeah.
You wanted more intelligence on the show.
There we go.
More smarter.
Hey, you know what's really good for this week?
What's that?
It's snowing outside again.
But it's going to be 70 this weekend.
I don't believe it.
I don't either, but we'll see.
I don't believe it'll be 70. But it's snowing outside again in April, so that's cool.
That's cool. At least it's not staying around.
It won't stay around now.
No.
My kid starts summer hockey on Friday.
Well, it's his fault then. He wants to keep playing cold other sports.
Oh, it's hockey, hockey, hockey.
Good Lord.
We have a family motto or a family quote. Sorry, can't hockey by.
You know what would look really cool?
What's that?
July 4th fireworks with snow falling. That'd
be
really cool.
You bite your tongue right now. I don't know that I can handle that.
My photographer side just thought.
Yeah, you were
cool
like,
that would be.
This is what I'm gonna do.
This would be really.
Remember the time you took pictures for me and I looked like a gopher?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks.
But
great photographer side you got there.
You looked really good. Your posture was great.
Yeah, my posture was like gopherish. Ridiculous. So yeah, no, that's. I just thought I'd share that fun fact that people would think hockey season is over now, but it was for 2 weeks, and now back at it we go again.
Every weekend in the rink.
Yep.
Fun.
Every Sunday we have practice, and we have a game Tuesday and Thursdays.
Jeez, still 3 nights a week.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Super pumped. I actually do enjoy being at the rink, but that's fun. It's summer season though, and we've never played summer hockey before.
Go right from the ice rink to the racetrack.
Yeah, we used to go from the ice rink to the racetrack, and then the summer was all racing. Now it's literally summer is going to be racing and hockey together.
Now when you have to start missing races to go to hockey.
I already do.
Do you?
Yeah, because they're on Friday nights sometimes.
Darn kids. Have kids, they said.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
I'm supposed to race on Friday nights, and he fortunately sometimes it's only a select number of Fridays, so I'll still get to race some. But
that's good.
Yeah, but still, I just thought I'd share that fun fact that hockey never ends.
Well, see, you racing a couple less nights a week or weeks a month, your blue rims will stay nice and blue.
No, I'm gonna wreck those the first night out for sure.
Boy.
Anytime you paint something that shiny and nice, it's gonna get messed up. I told everybody that I'm not even gonna get through practice, and those are gonna get messed up.
Good stuff.
Well, you know what? We gotta get back at it. So with that, I'm Brandon,
and I'm Nick.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre.